Let's try this again. So guys, as the title suggests, we're going to be doing another BMW swap, and we're super excited about this one. The last one was a little bit of a bumpy ride. Everything is pretty much ready to go, but it's still got a flashing engine light and we cannot hear the fuel pump.
Which is meant to be a switched earth.
Slightly concerned that we've got a faulty ECU here. The pin for the ignition line for the ECU was fitted incorrectly, so it's not getting fuel. And we've got a big problem. The car doesn't run whatsoever. We believe at this point in time we've got a high pressure fault. So guys, once we actually got over a few of the initial problems that we found with the BMW conversion, when it was all completed, it was so much fun, and I think we were all just a little bit interested in doing an automatic conversion. And this is going to be the start of the project, which is an automatic conversion. So we're going to put a BMW X5 engine, the later variant, which is the N2, I believe, variant, the associated gearbox, which goes onto that engine from a BMW. We're going to keep it going through the transfer box on a Land Rover. We're going to be doing some other little bits to this, nice little trick bits. Air suspension and big brakes. Big brakes always make sense when you're doing a BMW swap because there's going to be a lot of power going through it. And by the time that this thing will be cruising along around 80 miles an hour, you want to make sure that you can stop this thing. And on a 110 frame, you know, you're hurling along in a 2-ton brick, so you want to make sure you can stop. The first thing, of course, it's actually been somewhere else. It's been to Lucari. You guys know that we use Lucari. Great trimmers, and they have converted the inside to a TDCI. This is a TD5. It is around a 2004, I believe. And it used to be green. Someone's repainted it, done a good job. Lucari have fitted up a TDCI dash, a 60/40 split interior, so it's got the later Puma 60/40 rear seats, which look really cool. The interior is looking absolutely amazing, and now it's coming down to the mechanical side of it. It drives quite nice for a TD5, to be honest, but what we've been told is it's going to be going over, used for skiing, flying across, doing long distance. And to be honest, by today's modern standards, a lot of the old sort of technology, engine, gearbox and stuff like that is not really up to the job. So we're going to be pulling it all out, and with this conversion, we've used a different provider, and hopefully we won't have a repeat of the last one. So as far as, so Leon's here, by the way, so please do come in and give everyone a wave.
Hi.
First step is going to be removing the engine, the gearbox, the transfer box, and leaving us with a big hole in the Defender where we can then offer up our new engine gearbox. It is over here. We will pull it out. But for now, I just want to get a start on this video, an early start to it. So guys, we're ready to pull the engine on this one. We're just setting up for a final check because we're going to be trying to try and pull the engine, the gearbox and the transfer case all as one assembly, just to make it easier for us. This is the first time that we've actually looked underneath the vehicle. Obviously we pulled it in and we sort of got straight in jumping with the engine, but it is a very nice 110, to be honest. It's nice, clean. You would expect it at that mileage. I'm sure, oh, straight away, there you go. I was going to say, I'm sure we'll find a few little bits and bobs to do, like the A-frame ball joint here is split open, and this stops the rear axle rotating when you take up drive. So if that ball joint's worn or the dust cover's worn, you will have a knocking from the rear. So we'll change that, as well as obviously we're changing all the air suspension and all the vehicle bushes. It's going to be lovely when it's done, but we've got to go through this first stage of pulling everything apart. So we'll get this out and see what we got. guys, that was the engine removed. We didn't show you as much this time round because obviously we've covered this before, and our focus is going to be on sort of the detail towards the end. It was just a straight up removing the engine and gearbox. You've got 4 bolts holding the whole assembly in, some wiring, some gear selectors, sensors, and some other bits and bobs. But did the engine harness disconnect from the whole body in the end?
No, I had to literally sorry, I had to disconnect the whole in from the engine, pull it through, and that's what's over here.
That's so frustrating.
I think we've got to separate from the original.
We're going to have to isolate this, aren't we? Split it all down, work out what's what. So in the last conversion, guys, we converted a 2.4 TDCi Puma, and that was quite a nice and easy...
it's quite straightforward, wasn't it, really?
It was quite straightforward to turn it into a standalone harness because it just unplugged from the bulkhead, and then the engine harness stayed together, got rid of it, whereas this is a bit more involved in, you know, the body harness is part of the engine harness, which is going to be a bit painful on our side because we're going to have to split all the conduit away, work out exactly what wire does what. So, I mean, that gives us a great basis. What we are going to do as well is we're going to call Zach from Apex, and we're going to get him in because this car has had a respray, but what you do tend to find is that it's very hard to paint an engine bay with an engine in place, obviously. So a lot of people either leave it, which is exactly what this painter has done, or they paint him satin black. So we're going to get Zach in here to finish off this bay because it's in a forest green colour. And obviously, I assume a lot of people are going to be interested in seeing under the bonnet of this one.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I don't want to say, look at this, look at all the time that we've spent on this, and we had the opportunity to paint the bulkhead in its new... This looks like Orkney grey. So guys, I've just left Leon on this for about 20 minutes, and he's just come over and said, look at this is so simple. So he's pulled the harness out, and we've just got the battery, just came out the battery underneath the driver's seat. And that. With the ECU, it was just one plug, wasn't it? One plug?
Yeah, one plug, a couple of relays, well, 3 relays there, and another earth that's attached there. We don't know what these are for yet, but...
One of these should be the fuel pump.
Yeah.
So rear should be the fuel pump. I can't remember the orientation.
We'll find out, but I'm going to basically cut them so we've got both the colours so we can revert back to it.
Yeah, that's fine. And then that's the whole harness gone.
That's quite literally it. I thought we were going to have to cut into the harness,
and strip it all back.
Bits.
So that is a standalone CD5 harness. It'd be quite easy to stuff one of these into a series, Discovery 1, something like that.
TDI or something.
Is this got... So this is just an engine harness, isn't it? So
that's it, just the engine harness.
Straight up engine harness. So you could just power that 12 volts, we could have that running on the bench.
So
we've got one plug left for the ECU, the black plug, which I assume...
still in the
battery box, which probably does dials, etc., something like that.
Yeah, it's probably all, everything from the ECU inside the car, so that's...
But that was straightforward, because if there's a plug underneath the seat...
simple, I'm so happy about that. Really happy.
If there's just one plug underneath the seat, then that's absolutely fine, but we'll try and isolate as much as possible. But we've literally now got the body harness, which is up here. The engine harness is gone, and we can basically start again and cut these mounts off. We'll unbox the new kit. We'll talk you guys through it and how we're going to attack this and what we're going to do. But for now, that was nice and easy. Engine, gearbox, transfer box removed. We need the transfer box.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. So guys, it's another day, and Miley is energetic as ever. You're a little scruff, aren't you? But we've got something else in the shop. We've got a couple of builds on, actually. So I just want to take a minute to kind of show you guys around the shop. Slightly different style of video, really, because we've got quite a few projects in, which are cool, and I want to show you guys as much as possible. But equally, it makes it slightly harder to film in that sense. But this car's come in for some really interesting stuff, and it's all a little bit serious, if I'm honest. But it'd be great to show you guys what we're capable of, what we can do in this shop. Obviously, we're doing this BMW swap on ramp 3. So guys, this vehicle behind me is coming for a few interesting pieces, which I'd love to take you through the process and show you as much as possible on this one. It's a late TDCi 90 van, and what we're going to be doing is converting this into a station wagon, doing some sprucing, lifting the spec up a bit, but some of the stuff we're doing is pretty adventurous. So we're going to be cutting in side windows. Now, you guys have seen us do panoramics before, but you've never seen us cut in the original station windows. Now, there's nowhere to hide when you're doing a job like this, because obviously everything is on display. If the hole is slightly off, front, back, you're going to notice it straight away, because the window will look off. So that has to be absolutely perfect. We're also cutting off the Crossmember, hence our unit here. Now, somebody previously has fitted, I assume, what was an Anderson plug into this area here, which is obviously you can plug in and charge the unit. Now they've cut a hole in the crossmember, and obviously if it was just limited to this damage here, we would weld in a piece, grind it flush, make it perfect, and give the whole thing a coat of paint. But this is the perfect time to change this crossmember because it's starting to delaminate at the back. And if you look underneath here, this is the only reason why we are changing it, is because the steel is starting to delaminate and separate its layers just here, top and bottom. So here, this is where we want to catch it early, get rid of it, cut it off and put a short extension on. So we're fitting a quality unit to this vehicle. I have fit quite a few of these rear crossmember extensions, and once I found this supplier, we haven't changed since. This is supplied by DDS Metals. They are a trade-only place. Like I said, the quality of this is really nice, and you can tell straight away it's a good thickness. It looks well manufactured. The nice bits at the back, there's nice welding to it, and they last as well. So, and they fit, which is more important. Now with the later Puma style, they have a single strip which sits on the top, as opposed to the later Post style, which is actually on this one here. We've just changed the chassis on this. The earlier crossmembers have like posts which are welded on and bolt up the top, and you have a gap here. They don't have that on a Puma. It's a bolt-in like a wiring harness cover rail or rear body mount section. So like I said, we can probably salvage this crossmember, but by the point all the steel's delaminating, you're only preventing the inevitable, and then it won't be long before it creeps into the rest of it. And if you've got to start going a little bit further on past the spring hangers, doing a rear third chassis, you know, it gets even a little bit more serious. And neither is wrong. It's perfectly fine to salvage what we've got. There's not really a massive issue with it, but it does look like it's taken a small impact on this side of the crossmember. It's slightly more pushed in, and it looks like it's just folded this area here. It doesn't look structural towards the actual legs of the chassis, but this edge is slightly more kicked in as opposed to the other side. So we're basically going to take this opportunity, just get rid of it, cut it off on the short extensions, and weld on a new one. Now you guys would have seen me do this on the channel previously, believe it or not, on this vehicle over here. The neglected build is back, by the way, another really cool project which a lot of you really loved, and it's one of our favourites. I wish I could say it's back for some good modifications, whatnot. It came back recently for some brakes, big brakes, and a hybrid turbo that we fitted to it. But unfortunately, it's been involved with a bit of an accident. So at the rear, it's been hit stationary and pushed into a post, and unfortunately, the whole back door had folded. All this panel is all folded in, and we're just waiting for some insurance authority. But this is the crossmember that you guys saw me weld on, and again, good quality unit, still looking good as the day we did it, and it's still stuck onto the chassis, which is obviously what you want. Anyway, we're going to be doing a rear crossmember on this. We're going to be doing that today, get that out of the way. It's a pretty straightforward job when it's just the short extensions. The harness can get out of the way, fuel tank down, cut it off with the new unit up, bolt it up to the body, welded it where it sits, off we go. That's all good. Then, so obviously I said we're going to be fitting the station wagon windows. We're going to be removing the van bulkhead, so the bulkhead which sits behind the seats. We won't be reducing this one. We're going to be removing it and putting in the bar. We're going to be cutting out the rear tubs. So we're going to be cutting out the tubs here. In a van style, you can fit the bench seats quite easily to these, but we're going to be fitting the forward-facing tumble downs and making this into a full station wagon. So we're going to be cutting out the tubs, fitting in the panels that are forward-facing compatible, I suppose. Bulkhead removal. We're going to be installing AC, so air conditioning. We're also fitting a front sunroof. Quite a bit of cutting on this one. So this is going to be quite an interesting project to follow, because we're going to be converting a 90 van into a full station with AC. And there's a boot full of all goodies and stuff in here, just to bring it up that other level. So what we're going to do now is pull this vehicle in, drop the fuel tank down, and fit this crossmember. So guys, that is our short crossmember replaced with our short extensions. Now these short ones are an absolute breeze, so it's important that you can catch this issue with the rust as soon as possible, because it gets a little bit more difficult past, you know, the spring hangers, dropping the axle, etc. So these, you don't even have to cut the loom. You can just pin it out the way, chop it off, weld it on, make sure it's straight, and away you go. It is still obviously a bit of a savage job. You're cutting, you're getting messy, welding, but it's nice and strong. It's all done. What we're going to do now is obviously repairing the job. We're going to put a new tank center seal just for good measure, make sure that tank's not leaking. We're going to obviously protect, paint, and seam seal this area just to make sure that you know that area that we've opened up as bare metal is going to be give it the best chance of survival. And then we're going to give this a fresh coat of satin black, because obviously when you're hitting it with the wood, lining it up, you're marking it, there's packaging marks. So we just give that a fresh coat of paint, and then of course we're going to wax all the inside before the fuel tank goes in, just to make sure that this is we'd only do it once sort of thing, and we're going to wax all the inside. But no, proper job, all nice and easy done. I think we're going to wrap it up for this video. I will, of course, keep you guys updated in the next week as these two projects come to life. But I hope you're loving what you're seeing on the channel. Please don't forget to drop a comment, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys for the next one. Don't forget to follow on Instagram, which is @JuiceMotors.